So Paul wants to show that his gospel proclamation has its roots and foundations in the prophetic declarations of the Old Testament prophets. Paul wants to show that the gospel of God is not a new thing necessarily that God is just starting. He connects it, he links it up with the Old Testament prophets, with the writings and what God has been doing throughout salvation history, from Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, and all of the drama in the Old Testament. The days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will raise up for David a righteous branch, a king who will reign wisely and do what is just and right in the land. In his days, Judah will be saved, and Israel will live in safety. This is the name by which he will be called, the Lord our righteous Savior. So this is the prophet Jeremiah looking forward to a time in Israel's history when God will raise a righteous king, whose name will be called the Lord our righteousness. Little bit of Israel history. Because of sin, rebellion, and disobedience in the kings, in the succession, the line of kings, the prophets looked forward to a time when there would be a righteous king. And this king, because the covenant that God had with David was an everlasting covenant. So this was not going to be a human king. This was going to be an everlasting king. And this king is King Jesus, to put it simply. Heaven must receive him until the time comes for God to restore everything as he promised long ago through his holy prophets. So God promised the gospel, and God promised it long ago through his holy prophets in the Old Testament scriptures. And Paul wanted to ensure that that foundation was in place, because he was speaking to a mixed audience of Jews and Gentile believers. So that is how Paul sets his gospel proclamation and ensures that it has its roots and foundations in the prophetic declarations in the Old Testament scriptures.